Hello Beauty News family, welcome back to another episode of Beauty News Reviews. This is a series where we review stuff, kinda
Maybe, sort of.
A little bit. Subscribe if you want to see more because you just should. Today we have a new sponge that has joined the world of beauty sponges. This is the silicone infused super sponge. So basically this is a typical teardrop makeup sponge, but it has a section of it that is covered with silicone.
So it's like a hybrid between your sponge
Yeah.
and your silicone sponge that was popular a few years ago.
Yeah. So the claims of this sponge is that it won't suck. So it's non-absorbent, 2 to 4 times more foundation coverage with the silicone part of the sponge. You're supposed to be able to get all of the foundation on your face.
Which is a big criticism that a lot of people have for traditional sponges.
Yeah, because
sponges are designed to absorb.
Yes.
So you use more foundation to apply it to your face.
Yes. It is marshmallow soft, sourced from ultra premium materials. It expands when it's wet, just like a typical makeup sponge. It's antibacterial, so the silicone infused barrier limits bacteria growth. It has a longer lifespan. It lasts 2 to 4 times longer than other sponges, and it scrubs clean. You use soap and the scrubber that comes in the package for an easy clean. You can definitely see that it has a different layer over it. So the darker purple layer is the silicone infused part of the sponge.
And it's glittery.
It is glittery, and spaghetti-o, it does leave a little bit of glitter on the skin. That might rinse away when you get it wet.
Yes.
The bottom of the sponge is a normal sponge. There is no silicone, and that end is used to finish your look. It also comes with a little silicone cleaning pad, so it's got the little like silicone teeth bits, and you use this to like gently rub over the silicone part of the sponge to help work product out of, I suppose, the pores of the silicone. So at this point, the sponge is not actually available to the public. We were very lucky. We got a sneak peek.
Exclusive first look.
Yeah, Beauty News, go
Woo!
Beauty News. But it is available for pre-order. It will ship in June. We're going to give you all of those details towards the end of the video, but we really want to tell you guys what we're doing with it today. There was a little video created by the Super Sponge brand to demonstrate how their sponge works in comparison to a traditional sponge. And essentially they showed how their sponge is less absorbent and will carry more product further than a traditional sponge. And we love it when brands do this because it means we can recreate it. So what you're supposed to do with this sponge is similar to a traditional sponge. You get it wet in the water. Oh, and look at how that goes almost the same color as the silicone. So suck all the water up into the sponge. Now, when you use this sponge and you are squeezing water out of it, they do tell you do not squeeze water out of the silicone part of the sponge because you can pop it and it will ruin your sponge. You have to squeeze it out the bottom of the sponge, like so. So here we have a wet sponge compared to a dry sponge. It does grow a little bit, and it is fairly soft. They do say that it will also get softer with regular use. For our little comparison today, we are going to be using a beauty blender. It's been used.
It's an old one.
It's an old one, but this guy is wet, same as our super sponge. You can see that it doesn't get as large as a beauty blender. Now, the difference between these guys is the beauty blender, you use the whole sponge to do a full look, and the super sponge, you use the silicone side to apply and move your foundation around and dot it around the skin, or get your application going, and then you would use the soft end or the non-silicone end to finish the look. So maybe blend out any edges that aren't perfectly blended, or if you've got some excess product on your face, to pick it up.
Now I want to just squeeze this because this is soft enough to apply foundation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whereas other traditional silicone sponges,
they're hard.
It's like putting a shoe on your face.
It is.
This is not as soft as this.
No.
Definitely more bouncy here. But you can see it bounces.
Yeah.
It is still soft. So the silicone layer is a very, very, very thin. It's just
Yeah.
like a protective coat.
Here we have 2 pumps of foundation for each side. So over here, Kat's gonna have a go with the Beauty Blender, and I'm gonna have a go with the Super Sponge, and we are just going to recreate what the video shows. We're gonna blend this out and see how far each sponge can take this product. Ready, steady, go!
Oh, we've got different techniques.
We do! Oh no!
Okay, I'll try to mimic yours a little bit.
Holy moly.
This is a very high coverage foundation.
It is.
The table's looking flawless.
You're beautiful.
But it's definitely, mine's reached the point where it's starting to pick up on itself.
Yeah. Whereas I'm getting to the point where I need to go back to this spot and pick up the excess. Holy shit.
Yeah, the more I tap on it now,
Look at you.
the more it's
All right, I'm going to
picking
try and
up.
blend this out even further. This is some serious high coverage stuff going on.
This is some medium coverage.
I know.
Where you gone?
And I'm going to say the foundation that we used is pretty
Very high
thick
coverage.
and really high coverage.
And we're not mentioning the brand for reasons. Okay, we don't like them. We don't support them. I reckon that's pretty much done. If I start doing any more, it's going to lift it.
Yeah, and I feel like you can pretty clearly see that we've basically covered the same surface area with the exact same amount of foundation.
But look at the sponge. Let's just compare them.
See, this could keep going.
Yeah.
Shall I?
Keep going.
Let's get this sponge clean.
Well, I don't think you can. That's
No,
why they
you
give you
can't.
a cleaning
That's
tool.
why they give you a scrubber. Yeah, so it does get the product in there, and like
You need to scrub it off.
we're going to need to scrub it off. We will test that out, but I think it's pretty clear that this sponge definitely did not absorb as much product as the Beauty Blender, and it has spread it further with it. It's spread it the same distance with a thicker coverage.
Yeah, and I think if you look at this as skin, people may look at this and go, "This is a more blurred effect." This is what people. This is why people like sponges. It's a nice blurred effect. This has marks, but that's where you're going with the base.
Yes.
And you fix
and you
it up.
would, like,
so you
soften it.
Yeah, you then get that blurred effect with the base.
Yeah, but also the purpose of this is to use less product.
Correct.
So perhaps you could get this pretty blurred effect with one pump
Or half a pump.
Rather than 2 pumps and absorbing half of the product into the sponge before it even goes on your face.
Mm-hmm.
So you're essentially taking a foundation and making it last so much longer.
Yeah, because that could be one face
Application.
use, and this could be 3.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it does work.
Look, it works quite well.
The test is like
How does it apply
on the face? And that's not what we're looking at here. But we do have a pack each, so we might use these more on our individual channels.
Absolutely.
And give them a test. But Tati did say nice things about it.
She did, yeah.
I think this is a nice sort of middle ground between that silicone sponge that was used just to spread the foundation on your face, and also the sponge that buffs it in. Yeah.
And I do feel like, just sort of going back over this now, it does appear that you can still use that silicone edge to get
that blurred effect.
A beautiful, that's evening out quite a lot now. So look, tables and faces are probably not the same thing, but I do think perhaps there is a lot of potential with this sponge.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm kind of excited to use it.
I'm excited to use it too. And this is not sponsored. We weren't gifted it.
We were gifted.
But they wanted to send it to us because they knew that we will test it and actually show the results, which they clearly are very proud of. Which
is fair.
Yeah.
Good on them. All right, let's see if we can clean it.
We'll clean the table first.
First the table. Here is our sponge, dirty sponge. We are going to use the Daiso Puffin sponge to have a go at cleaning this because it is one of our faves.
Yeah.
So I'm going to dip. Yeah, you can see that's on there.
Yeah, it's also a really long wearing foundation. So once it sets, you're in trouble.
I'm going to put a little bit on here.
Try to clean it with your fingers first.
With my fingers? All right.
I want to see if it needs the
scrubber.
Yeah. Daiso Puffin sponge for the win.
Yes. I'm trying to be gentle with the silicone because I don't want to bugger anything up. All right, so there is how clean it gets with just one run over of the Puffin sponge. Should we try another or the scrubber?
Try the scrubber.
All right. All right, scrubber, let's do this. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It just pulls it out.
It does.
I wouldn't recommend using this scrubber on the sponge area because it may break the sponge, but clearly the silicone
it really helps.
Little pores of the silicone need it.
It helps to, you can see there, it's come up really nicely. So I think it is a really clever little tool to have in there. They've thought about making sure that this sponge looks nice and clean after every use. And it's great that they've included it because you don't have to be like, wait, my sponge is filthy and I only used it once.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like when I use this personally, I'm going to try to avoid the butt end as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because that's what can harbour bacteria and can be hard to wash. So if you can get that nice blurred effect on the skin just using
with
the silicone area,
end,
then you're laughing.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah. So it's come up pretty clean. There are still a few spots on there, but I think...
And there's a little bit around the edge that you see where the silicone meets the sponge.
I think it's worth keeping in mind that I'm trying to wash it in a tiny bowl of water.
Yeah.
If you are at a sink with this, you might be able to you might be a bit more confident with really getting in there. I'm trying not to splash water everywhere because I tend to splash it on our very expensive camera. But I think it's come up pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about that.
No, I'm excited to use it.
Yeah, me too.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about where you can get these. So it is the supersponge.com website. The set of the sponge and the scrubber is selling for $19.95, but it's pre-sale and these will not ship until June. I believe this is an introductory price before the product goes live, and then it'll be $29.95. Shipping is $1.99 to all Canadian and American customers. $4.99 worldwide, and that's going to be US dollars. It's all US dollars because it's a US company. I really think that $4.99 worldwide it's an easy pill to swallow.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I saw that price. I expected it to be like $12.95, which is kind of like or $14.95 or something. It's pretty much a standard rate. But the beautiful thing about these is they're shipped in tiny little packets.
Yeah,
so they don't weigh much. Yeah.
I think the full rate that this will retail for, which is just shy of $30, I think if you can get a year's use out of this, because traditional sponges, they say to throw out every 4 months.
Yeah.
So if you can get a whole year use out of this, it could be something that people are interested in.
Yeah.
It also minimizes the product usage, which is massive.
Unless you're a project planner like me.
And then you just want to give me the sucking up as much as possible.
Yeah.
But if you do have an expensive foundation and you're sick of going through it so quickly, this may take, say, a foundation that you need 2 to 3 pumps to use a full face, might take it down to 1 pump.
Yeah.
So even though it is more expensive than a traditional sponge, it may save you in product, which is a really, really smart move, and I'm interested to try this.
Me too. I'm really excited to try this and see how it applies different types of foundations. I do think one thing that I would like to see, and I think this will probably come in the future from this brand, is a sponge where you're just buying the sponge and not the cleaner.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this potentially is something that you might replace like every 5 years.
Yes.
Whereas the sponge is something that, look, if you're like me, you're going to replace it every year.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that will eventually come, but I know straight off the bat, as this being their like initial launch of the product, you need this.
Yeah.
You do need it to get it clean, and I can see that it's been designed in a way that it's not going to damage the sponge.
Mm-hmm.
If you just went in with like a scrubbing brush, I suspect you'd do some pretty intense damage to this.
Yeah. Also, if you've got like a sponge mitt,
Yeah.
you might not need this.
You might not.
So it will be good if they bring out singles or even like duo packs in the future, so you just buy the sponge itself.
Yeah.
But as it is, I like the glitter, even though it sheds a little bit. I like the color. I like how it feels.
Yeah.
So this has a lot of promise, and I'm excited to see what other people think of this when it finally does launch.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed this video. We do want to say thanks to Super Sponge for sending these out to us. And thanks for sending two, because it means we can actually use them.
Yay!
If you have tried the Super Sponge, because I know a few people have got a little sneak peek at this, let us know what you think of it down in the comments section. And if this is something that is now on your radar, let us know, because it's definitely on ours. We feel ya. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.